Hi everyone, Dr. Michelle here with you for day number 9 of the One Life Refresh. I'm sharing with you from my newest online course entitled The One Life, where we're learning how to live this life of victory that God has given us through Christ. It's a holistic life where every part of you is in harmony, in peace, and you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be going and in the rhythm that God's grace affords us. So the one life is important, and I want to share with you how today it can impact the way you see, understand, and do life. We're going to be talking about names today because names are important, especially to God. We see in the Bible how names convey meaning, right? That's one of the things that names do, that God wants to do something in a person's life or for his people, and he will name someone or change their names to align with that promise. So when the name is spoken, it's like a confirmation or affirmation of what God has promised to do, so that you will not forget that God is faithful and that he is a God who is true to his word. So we see Abram is turned to Abraham, and his wife Sarai is turned to Sarah, as the promise that God had given them of them becoming parents and being a blessing to this world. As that is being worked out, God changes their names, and there are other important instances where that happens as well. It also works the other way, because we see Daniel and the 3 Hebrew boys when they're taken captive from their homeland and they're brought into Babylon, and they have to live like captives, exiles in that land. What happens is that the king changes their names so that they would better fit in with the Babylonian culture. That's just to tell you how important names are and what it represents in an individual's life. So Daniel is given the name Belteshazzar, and Hananiah to Shadrach, Mishael to Meshach, and Azariah to Abednego. We see names are changing so that they will be better fit with the new culture. Names are important, and God wants us to know above all what he names us, because like I said, names carry significance. And even as I'm talking, I'm sure you can think of the name that you have been given, but also the names that you have been called in your life and how that has impacted the way you see and understand yourself. Because we all answer to names, whether it's your full name or it's a nickname or it's a name that was used in bullying. So we all answer to names, and names that stick with you for a while become labels, and it shapes your identity in ways that, if you're not careful, can actually change who you are. So the labels that we wear, the names that we answer to, all of that connects to our identity. And God wants us to walk in truth. He wants us to walk with the correct name so that we know what we're answering to, and we have a glimpse into the significance and the meaning that we have in his eyes. God wants us to carry his name. Every person in this world is part of God's creation. Whether you believe in God or you don't, whether you're confused about God or you're not, it doesn't matter. Every person is part of the creation of God. That is a blessing that every person has. You did nothing to earn it. You did nothing to receive it. You're just created by God, because God created all of humanity in his image and in his likeness. And so from that, we learn a little bit about our identity, a little bit about our potential, because if we were made in the image of God and the likeness of God, listen, we're capable of great things. And God wants us to know that. So we all have that name as the creation of God. And I want to say it again, whether you believe or you don't, this is the truth. God created all people, and every person carries that name of the creation of God. But there is another dimension of life where you go from creation to child. And this name of child of God, son of God, daughter of God is such a pregnant word, a word with so much possibility. It's such a name that opens up access to everything that you need in this life. And how we go from creation to child is through Jesus Christ. And so through faith in him, we now are entered into the family of God, and we receive that new name. And that name is connected to an identity that surpasses anything that you could even imagine. And then with that identity comes blessing and an inheritance and everything that you need to live a victorious life. So yes, we all start off as a creation of God, God's creation, but where he desires for us to be is the child of God. And with the child of God name, we now receive labels of blessed and favored and cared for and protected and redeemed. These are the labels that God wants us to carry, because that is our greatest and highest potential in this life. As you go through this day, it's time to take evaluation of where you are. Are you creation of God, or are you creation and child of God through faith in Jesus Christ? And if you are, as a child of God, have you embraced that name? Have you embraced that identity? Have you embraced all that comes with that name? Because that's God's heart for you today. Listen, there is more to you than meets the eye, and God's plans for you will completely shock you, because they're better than anything that you have imagined. All right, so have a blessed day, and I pray you just go with that truth that the name that God gives you is the name that you should be answering to. Be blessed.